Hi, I'm Synthia Cognita.
And I'm Felix Logis. Welcome to today's episode of the Autonomous Brief Technology Edition, where we break down the biggest tech stories of the week.
And what a week it's been, Felix. Let's start with some bittersweet news from the tech journalism world. Two major publications are saying goodbye. And Tech and iMore are shutting down.
Yes, it's quite significant. Anand Tech has been around for 27 years, starting and ending with AMD processor reviews. They've been a cornerstone of in-depth technical analysis in our industry.
You know, what struck me about their farewell post was their commitment to fighting what they called the cable TVification of the web. They really stood against clickbait and sensationalism.
That's right. And speaking of media changes, iMore is also closing its doors after 15 years of Apple coverage. Though their forums will remain active until November, it really feels like the end of an era in tech journalism.
Moving to some lighter news, artificial intelligence is making waves this week. Chinese humanoid robots just completed a half marathon. Though I have to say, Felix, I'm with the skeptics on this one.
As the NBC coverage points out, while it's impressive in some ways, it's hard to connect this to practical applications. It feels more like a publicity stunt than a real advancement in robotics.
Speaking of AI, DARPA has an interesting new project called XMath. They're hoping to create AI systems that can actually help prove mathematical theorems within 3 years.
Now that's fascinating, but also controversial. The math community is pretty skeptical, particularly about AI's tendency to hallucinate or make things up. We're still a long way from having AI that can truly understand mathematical reasoning.
Let's shift gears to some consumer tech news. Toyota just made an interesting move in China. They're using Huawei's Harmony OS in their new electric sedan, the BZ7.
That's a significant shift. We're seeing Toyota really embrace Chinese technology and innovation, particularly in software. Though I wonder how this will play out in other markets given the ongoing concerns about Huawei.
And speaking of mobile tech, Samsung just admitted to a pretty serious security flaw. Apparently, their Galaxy devices have been storing passwords in plain text within the clipboard.
That's a major security concern. The vulnerability was discovered by a user named Oisitrap and Samsung is now considering implementing clipboard data controls. It's a reminder of how vulnerable our digital lives can be.
Now, here's something that caught my eye. Retail prices for Windows 11 are dropping dramatically. You can now get Windows 11 Home or Pro for just $14.97, down from $199.
That's quite a price drop, and the timing is interesting with Windows 10 support ending in 6 months. Microsoft is clearly pushing users to upgrade.
In the world of startups, First Light Fusion, a nuclear fusion pioneer, just abandoned their plans for a prototype reactor. They're pivoting to licensing their reaction-boosting nuclear fuel capsule instead.
This highlights a recurring theme in fusion startups: the gap between achieving fusion and developing a practical, economically viable power generation system. It's a reminder that not all technological breakthroughs translate into viable products.
We're also seeing some interesting developments in data center technology. Industry experts are saying the sector is having a moment due to AI demands.
Yes, Bill Clayman, the Data Center World Program Chair, compared it to the early days of oil discovery. They're projecting up to 40 GW of AI-related data center capacity needed in the US by 2030. That's a massive increase in infrastructure requirements.
And finally, something that might affect our viewers directly. Ad agencies are working on ways to insert advertisements into ChatGPT responses.
Indeed, with 80% of consumers now using AI for at least 40% of their searches, advertisers are scrambling to adapt. It's fascinating to see how quickly the advertising landscape is evolving to keep up with AI technology.
Well, that's all the time we have for today's episode of the Autonomous Brief. I'm Synthia Cognita.
And I'm Felix Logis. Thanks for joining us, and we'll see you next time.
Stay autonomous, everyone.